Hello everyone, Luke Taylor here for another album review, and today I'm going to review the Dream Theater record, A View from the Top of the World. Now, the record before this, Distance Over Time, I really liked. I don't remember if I did a review or not. I have to check that, but if I didn't, I should, especially if you see this and you're like, well, what did he say about the other one? And The Astonishing as well. I need to do a review for that. So, I think the album art says it really, really good. In this circumstance, I feel that this record is stuck between Distance Over Time and The Astonishing. They're very different. This is kind of a combination of both of them in some ways. Obviously it doesn't have an intentional storyline like The Astonishing, but I feel that the songwriting reminds me of the songwriting in The Astonishing a lot more, whereas there might be a lot more of character performances in the vocals or sound effects or production that kind of adds more of a story. Whereas in Distance Over Time, there was just like meaty four on the floor riffs, and there was like just shred. I absolutely loved it. So I feel that this record is going back to more of a form that a true Dream Theater fan would enjoy. I have a difficulty with this band in some ways because I have a friend who is the biggest Dream Theater fan I've ever met, and she saw them live when they did The Astonishing. So they performed The Astonishing in its entirety perfectly, flawlessly, note for note. They're an amazing band. I will give them all the credit they deserve as, you know, titans of their craft and of their instruments. But when it comes to actually making a record for me to kind of interact with, sometimes there's a challenge there. It's almost like a film, or a book, or sometimes there's too many words, you know, or the pace is not your pace. So I want to say that right away with this record, I noticed that the lower, heavier riffs, they didn't really engage me as much as the melodies and the solos. And then in the songwriting, so the chord progressions and the backing tracks for these solos, they were absolutely epic, and they had a lot of emotion. And I feel that there is obviously a lot of time signature changes, a lot of key changes, but that emotional change really caught me off guard. So the attitude, excuse me, the attitude that you have in the riffing, but then a totally almost more soaring epic kind of solo, it's really, it's not jarring, but it's very noticeable for me. And there's some bands that I think do that a lot better, where maybe the riff and then the solo or that passage, it just flows a lot better. For me, it was like many different songs copy and pasted together in some ways. A View from the Top of the World, the title track, it's a big 20-minute song. They have so many big awesome songs, so it ticks all the boxes for a big awesome Dream Theater song. But as far as like the last record, where it had like Paralyzed and it had Untethered Angel, those songs had a lot more that stick in my head. I could sing them right now because they're very memorable. These songs didn't hit me in that same way. So it's nothing negative. And the same token, The Astonishing has so many moments where I'm like, well, that's a mind-blowing moment. But overall, it doesn't have a lot of sing-song choruses that I remember, a lot of radio-friendly stuff. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is Dream Theater is not exactly the most radio-friendly band. I get that, but I really respect what they did with Distance Over Time. I felt like it was a great compromise for someone that wants a chorus they can sing or that will get stuck in their head, and then really cool riffs and cool time signatures, and then also epic solos. There's some really wicked playing in here. Of course, I mean, these guys are just fantastic. But I do feel that, again, with the nature of the songwriting, takes me out of some of those moments at sometimes. So, that said, I hope that makes sense to Dream Theater fans. I don't know the band as well as like my friend does, but I do know these last three records pretty well, and I do respect it a lot. I'm not a huge fan of it. If I had these three records to pick from, View from the Top of the World, Distance Over Time, and The Astonishing, every time, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, I guess, I would pick Distance Over Time. It really rocks. And if I haven't done a review for that, I will for sure. And also for The Astonishing. So also, I really like Andy Sneap. Big fan of Andy Sneap. I don't like the production on this as much as a couple of the last records that I've heard he's done. Particularly the bass drum. This is really nitpicky, but because it is, you know, progressive metal, the bass drum patterns are very important. And it's just like, I wish there was more of a thud than that tick tick. It's a thing of mine. I like more thud rather than that tick tick tick. Yeah, that's just a thing of mine. And Mike Mangini is an excellent player, of course. He plays differently than Mike Portnoy. So there is not only a different sound in the band, but different patterns. But overall, the recording is great, and there's some really great tones. I mean, John Petrucci's solo tones are they're awesome. Like, very expensive sounding rig, of course, as we know, but just the note choices and the melodies, and I think the best part of this record, easily hands down, is the songwriting for his solo melodies, the way he plays them, but also the way they were written and supported. So that's my favorite part of the record, and that happens in different moments. I can't pick a particular song. That will happen all the time. So whenever he's doing that, I'm like, yeah, more. I could just listen to 45 minutes of him doing that. I'm not kidding. It's that good. So that's my thoughts. Please tell me what you thought. Of course, Dream Theater, just an epic band, and where you go from here, who knows? Maybe more strings, maybe more beards, I don't know. We'll see. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Have a great day. See you later.